In this realm of shadows and whispers, where the thin line between justice and judgment blurs into obscurity, I find myself immersed in the intoxicating dance of the Death Note. As the pen strokes of fate etch their inedible mark on the pages before me, I, Jackson, embark on a journey that transcends the boundaries of morality. In this silent monologue, I invite you to step into the shadows with me, where the death note awaits, and the echoes of my thoughts resonate with the weight of 1,000 lives. Welcome to the realm of gods and men, where the stroke of a pen holds the power to reshape destiny itself. Hello everybody, my name is Jackson, and welcome back to Anime NoobTube. Today I'll be covering chapters 1 through 5 of the Death Note manga, and I'll be giving you my thoughts and reactions, I guess, as we talk about this. I know my channel is called Anime NoobTube, however, this is the only anime that I actually know pretty well. I have watched Death Note in its entirety, basically twice. However, I have never read the manga, so that is what I'm going to be diving into today. And I hear that the anime, while it is a pretty good retelling, especially these first 5 chapters of how it plays out, as the series goes along, they do change a couple things. So I'm very interested, to see how that plays out. Um, and yeah, so let's get started right away. So the thing that I love about this manga just immediately is just the artwork. It is fantastic. While I do not remember the artist's name, I know it starts with the H. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I'll definitely give him a shout out probably in the next video. I even though even though I don't remember his name, his artwork is amazing. I know he's worked with other manga series before, so it translated very well, especially into the anime, which I am familiar with. So I love that art direction there. And we immediately start out with Ryuk dropping the Death Note and Light realizing that this notebook is on the ground and he takes it home. I did not remember that that's how it started in the anime. I thought Ryuk was just like a later thing, and I thought we were initially revealed to Ryuk once Light saw him for the first time, but I guess I was wrong, so I don't know why I thought that was the case. But we get Ryuk, and it's so funny because the whole first chapter, it connects Light's boredom with the Death Note to Ryuk's boredom in the Shinigami world, where he's kind of just like, yeah, we just kind of just like mess around, throw out these death notes in the human world just because we're bored. I find that so funny. It really sets the tone of both these characters. Ryuk's kind of just like a whatever character. He's just like vibing in the background throughout the entire thing, giving his taste, trying to understand what Light's thinking. And Light's like this calculated protagonist, and he doesn't overthink a single thing. He's thought through how everything is going to play out. He's mapped it out, and throughout these couple of chapters, we see that, and we see him. Sometimes he got. We'll talk about this later, but sometimes he got destroyed. Sometimes he destroys, his opponents in this, and it's so fun to see. It is interesting though how different the first episode of the anime was to the manga, because we kind of skipped the 5 days, and then Light meets Ryuk, and then we kind of flash back to the previous days and building up to that moment. So I thought that was interesting. So like in the anime, Light figures out, or he reads the rules of the Death Note. He writes them down, and then um, he obviously kills the dude that was a hostage. He was doing a hostage thing with, I think, children at a school or something. We see that before he meets Ryuk, but in the book, they kind of flash back to those previous 5 days and how he was bored. And we kind of see all of that play out. Um, like I said, it's pretty 1-to-1 with the anime. Um, Loved seeing those how those pages were written initially, how the characters looked, how they interacted with each other, and it seemed very, very consistent with the other media that I've seen Death Note in. I also want to bring up that I have this kind of wild thing to bring up, but I have seen the live action movie, and it is so bad, except for Willem Dafoe's Ryuk. I find that funny. But other than that, it is garbage, and I'm not going to bring it up any other time, in any of these reviews, just to let you know. Um, but yeah, so when we're when we're introduced to Light, he's thinking about this moral dilemma. He's thinking about the power that he has with this Death Note, and he has this dilemma, but um he kind of makes up his mind really quickly, in that he thinks about the good that he can do, the utopia that he can create with this power. And I've and he just does it very quickly, and I just find that so fascinating. As you can continue on, um, we have the police force, the FBI, that are just seeing all these criminals, all these bad people die, and you have the world, whatever the organization's called, where they bring up everyone, all the national police people together, and they're all talking about this Kira, which is, I think it's the Japanese word for killer. It means killer, but hero, which is Light's, his cover, um his persona, I guess you could call it. Love that game, by the way. But his persona, um and you kind of see all these policemen and all these government people freaking out. And then we're introduced to this guy named L, which in my opinion is probably my favorite character in the show. L is this kid who is also a detective, and he's solved the world's hardest crimes, and he is at like the same intellectual level as Light. So through, even you get some of this throughout these couple of chapters too. You kind of see that interconnectivity between him and Light form, and just how he plays Light initially, and then how Light retaliates by playing him. I mean, it's such an interesting. This is why this is, even though I've only seen one anime, it is really good, and it's by far, it's definitely my favorite. Like I said, very small sample size, but that relationship between Light and L is what makes Death Note like, oh, like literally the perfect story, especially here at the beginning, where it just moves at the speed of light. You're getting this cat and mouse relationship, um, and it just makes you feel smarter while you're watching it, how watching it all play out. And we were meeting all these characters. We're meeting Light's father. We're meeting Watari, L's assistant. We're meeting Masuda. We're meeting more of the police, um, organizations and stuff. We're also seeing Light kind of develop, um, his understanding of the rules of the Death Note, how he can manipulate it to throw off the detectives and L, and it is just so fascinating to watch. And you're like, why didn't I think of that? And it's really hard to, like, sort of try to stray away from what Light's ideas are. It's hard to picture any other way to do this better than Light has already thought about it. And I love how grounded it is in reality. And you're like, yes, this is something that you could do in this situation, and this is what probably would happen. So that's why I love the that grounded reality of it, even though it has the fantastical element of the Death Note, as well as like Ryuk, for example. It stays really grounded in its story, and it's like this really smart high school student is given this power, and what is he gonna do with it, and how is he gonna react to um what happens around him because of that great power. and it is just so interesting to watch. And yeah, so as he's learning these rules, he's learning the rules about the the contingency of the heart attack, when he can be able to manipulate that. He learns about the Death Note, and that if someone touches it, they can see Ryuk. He learns about at the end. He learns about the the eyes of the Shinigami and what power that can bestow upon him, where it's cutting his life, but he can see the names of everybody, which is weird because that never made sense to me. Because like, what did the Shinigami just like know your legal name at all times? Like, what happens if you change your name? Does it change? I don't know. Maybe they answered it at some later time, but I don't really remember. Um, and as the government's kind of like really trying to break down where Light is. Um, Light messes up. He kills a dude that they threw on national television, specifically only in his Kanto region. I think that's a Pokemon reference. I'm pretty sure it's a Pokemon reference. Kanto region of Japan. Actually, I don't know if it is a Pokemon reference. I don't know if there's an actual Kanto region in Japan. There may or may not be. I don't know. Y'all can let me know in the comments down below. Um, but you see Light mess up where he kills the guy that was on TV at that moment, and it was broadcast in his region, and that's when you realize that L is extremely smart. Although he does mention that it was kind of a shot in the dark, and he wanted to try to see the capabilities of Light's power, with the Death Note, but that moment is just a pivotal turning point where Light's like, oh shoot, I gotta be a lot smarter about this. And Ryuk is obviously he's clowning him. He's like, dang, L got you, man. That's tough. That was really that's a really fun thing to see, especially in writing. You see the drawings of Light and Ryuk's reaction, um, and just like I said, like a couple times during this video, the translation from this to the anime is literally perfect from what I've seen so far. Everything that's been written on the text has been in the anime, um, up to this point. We'll see how it evolves. There's only like 100 chapters of this compared to like the 1,000 plus of One Piece that I'm gonna dive into. But it was extremely entertaining to see how Light and L started this all off in this. A couple other things that I want to talk about. One's Masuda. He really only had one moment in this. He is one of my favorite Death Note characters. He had the moment where he was shoot, what did he say? He was talking about, the dangers of, Kira, or talking about how Kira might not be that bad after all, just because he is killing the most wanted criminals and the crime rate's going down. It's a set that like sense of realism, that like that kind of like naiveness to it all. I think it balances really well with like the whole weight of the situation, and I'm very excited to see him develop, as the series continues, or this manga interpretation of him continues. Um, yeah, I also really like Ryuk in this. Ryuk has always been an interesting character to me because he doesn't pick a side with Light. He is very entertained by what he's doing, and Ryuk is just a really fun character. He's drawn like I said, I keep saying this, but the adaptation and then the anime, it's literally one for one. Um, it's Ryuk brings that sense of reality to the situation, clarifying, and figuring out what Light's doing. It helps the reader because obviously Light is, if he's not talking to Ryuk, he's probably, or if he's not talking to his dad, he's probably just thinking to himself. But sometimes his plan's not always clear, because like after L, for example, figures out that Light's in the specific region he's in, we don't know what Light's thinking. We kind of think he might be done for. But Ryuk asks him, what are you going to do? And then Light's like, this is exactly what I'm going to do. He's going to wait for the FBI and the detectives to find L, because L and the FBI, or L and the FBI, but also like the Japanese crew that's working on this case specifically, which includes his dad, which is always a fun part of the series, seeing how that all plays out. Um, Ryuk's like, "How are you gonna do this?" And Light's like, "This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait for the police to find L, and then he's gonna take out L because he knows that L is the only person that is capable of finding Kira at this point." Um, but yeah, we also get that piece of the FBI agent. I can't wait um, to see that female FBI agent. God, what was her name? It starts with an N. I don't remember, but I remember when we. Oh shoot, what was her name? I don't know, but I remember when we. I'll talk all about her when we eventually get to the chapters where she comes into play. But yeah, we kind of see the Ryuk be like, "Hey, this guy's been following you for a couple of days." Obviously, talking about the FBI agent, and you know, just I remember watching the anime, and when that moment hit, I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." And Light's obviously been scheming of how he's going to deal with him, which we're going to see play out, see if it's any different than the anime adaptation of it. um it's probably in the next couple of chapters, but we'll see. But yeah, I have very much enjoyed these first 5 chapters of Death Note. It follows the anime very, very closely, and I love the first half of Death Note a lot. I think it's some of the best writing, best cat and mouse like stories I think I've ever seen before. It was really enlightening, especially it being one of my first, animes that I looked into. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch this because everyone's recommending it to me, and we're gonna see what it's about, and it hooks you, like it hooks you. Um, and I honestly can't stop reading the manga, so I'm excited to see, excited to talk about the next couple of parts of this series and how it relates to the anime, and doing all that, seeing how it connects, see how it doesn't connect, see where it had its differences. But I'm really excited. This was pretty accurate to the anime, and I loved the anime. So um, same vibe, got the same, characterizations were all the same. Did a couple things different, but I don't think it was at fault for anything that it did. I mean, obviously, the anime did a couple things different from this because this was, I think, first, unless it wasn't. But I'm pretty sure the manga came out first. But yeah, I mean, this you can see why it's a hit. It's a great read. It makes you feel smarter when you read it too. That's why I also like it a lot. Um, but anyways, thank you guys all for watching. Please check out the other videos on the channel. We have plenty of other anime content. We got One Piece going on and Attack on Titan as well. So thank you all for watching. Have a nice day and see you in the next video.